and good morning. Welcome to episode 2 of Bracketing the Seventh. This is a series where I'm just kind of taking all the games, I'm coming up with a category, and I'm going to run through a double elimination bracket and see what kind of comes out on top. Today I decided to do the best intro. So I'm just going to be kind of thinking about like which game had the best like 30 minutes, like best kind of made the best first impression. So let's get into it. I meant to switch over to this screen. Okay. Here is just kind of my own personal spreadsheet that I use for everything. So basically, I highlighted and copied all of the games that I have played, bulk add. I'm going to post them in. Now I want to shuffle. I'm going to shuffle one more time just because. All right, now how do I get out of this screen? Boop, boop, boop. Bracket. Okay, I just want to see how this is all looking. Looking pretty good. I want to start the tournament. I'm going to want to go into full screen. And once again, I just want to do a quick check. Things are looking good. And let's get into it. Okay, so this is going to be, whichever game made like a better first impression, best intro type of thing. So, well, let's get into it. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix versus Call of Duty 2. Now, Call of Duty 2, I just recently played it. The game kind of starts out, you're playing as the Russians. If I'm being honest, I think the first Call of Duty, it was Call of Duty Classic. It has a way better impression than Call of Duty 2. With that being said, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I'm trying to like remember how that even starts, if anything that notable happens, or if it's just kind of like, yeah, neither one like really blows me away. I'm leaning more towards Call of Duty 2 just because I at least remember it. I'm gonna go with Call of Duty 2. Okay, Mario Party 8 versus NASCAR Unleashed. Now this is a weird one, but like I will say right off the bat, Mario Party 8 is slow. It does have a slow impression. Where NASCAR Unleashed, I do remember just being like, oh, this is cool. This is just like a fun arcadey racing game. It wasn't until I got into the game a little bit more and started playing it a little bit more that like some of the issues started to unravel a little bit. But I would say the game has a really good first impression just because it's just like it's an arcadey racing game and you're like, oh, it controls well, it plays well, I'm able to, and I like these power-ups. Like there are things to like about it. So I'm gonna say NASCAR Unleashed and moves on. Okay. Geometry Wars Evolved versus Young Justice Legacy. Geometry Wars is one of the best twin stick shooters ever made, and Young Justice Legacy is a really bad Marvel Ultimate Alliance clone ripoff. So, I mean, this is another easy one. It's going to just be Geometry Wars. It also just has a great first impression, great music. It has, I mean, it just controls perfectly. Yes, Geometry Wars has a way better at first impression. Hitman Absolution versus the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Oof. Hitman does have a great prologue. It really pulls you in. You end up sneaking into your handler's home and like killing her while she's in the shower, but it just doesn't come close to Skyrim. I mean, Skyrim's like iconic. Hey there, traveler. I mean, like you got the hood. Yes, I mean it is Skyrim. The first 30 minutes are just, yes, that is such an iconic It's iconic. I don't have any else I need to say. So, okay. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? The Wii game or Power Up Heroes? I will say right off the bat, are you smarter than a fifth grader? I didn't have any issues with the controls not working. So that had a better impression than Power Up Heroes, which was like, oh, this is a Connect game, and sometimes it doesn't work. So yeah, are you smarter than a fifth grader? Moves on. Medal of Honor 2010 versus the Saboteur. I'm going to be honest. Medal of Honor 2010. I remember it was like a Middle East shooter. I don't remember anything else about it. I mean, it's a competent shooter. It shoots well, but it's just so run of the mill what you're doing that it's forgettable. Versus the Saboteur, which has a really interesting start where you're an Irish guy and you're in France and you're in a race, and then like the Nazi, like a high level Nazi takes you out during the race, and then you end up joining the resistance. Like, yeah, the Saboteur is way up my alley. I'm going with the Saboteur. That's an easy choice. Okay. Rogue Warrior versus Mass Effect 2. Rogue Warrior, it's not worth talking about. I don't think there's really a lot I need to say about it. Um, I just remember the character just being like fuck stick, and I just terrible. Where Mass Effect 2, the ship literally crashes. That is how the game starts. The ship crashing and you're killed and then you're brought back to life. I am on board with Mass Effect 2 all the way. Mass Effect 2 is going to have a hell of a run. I'm just going to spoil that now. Okay, Diablo 3 versus Uncharted 3. Ooh, this is a hard one. Uncharted 3, it starts out with the bar fight, and it's immediately they're saying, hey, we have improved the melee combat. Also, this is cinematic as hell. And then it kind of goes into. Then you just kind of start doing Uncharted things throughout that city. I think the reveal that okay, so there's Cutter, and then there's that reveal, which is probably all within the first 30 minutes that you think he's an enemy, but then he's actually on your side. Uh, and compare that to Diablo 3, which I remember really enjoying my time going through Diablo 3, the numbers getting bigger, but I don't the intro just I don't think there was anything that special about the intro compared to the rest of the game. I think it was just all great throughout, but it not the most memorable. So I'm going to have to go with Uncharted 3. Okay. Assassin's Creed 2 versus Burnout Revenge. Assassin's Creed 2 starts out you're literally I think okay, Assassin's Creed 2 starts out a little slow from what I remember. Now that I'm thinking about it, because you start out, you don't get to play as Desmond. Or no, you start out as Desmond and kind of going through all that with Lucy rather than kind of getting into the Ezio story, which is that's when the game starts getting good, but like that's the first half hour probably is like a slower part of the game. It's definitely not the strongest. So I don't know if I can really praise the first half hour of Assassin's Creed 2. Now compare that to Burnout Revenge. That is a fun arcadey racer. I remember it took me like 2 or 3 races, and then I was like, "Oh, I get these controls. These controls make sense. I'm enjoying this game. I'm liking this game." The game definitely has a great. It starts hot and heavy, and then by the end, I was a little frustrated with it. But man, that start was great. So, I'm actually gonna pick up Burnout Revenge over Assassin's Creed 2 as which game has a better like kind of starts out better. I will say these two games, Assassin's Creed 2, a way better ending, but that will be a different episode. Okay. next, we are looking at Fear, First Encounter, Assault, Recon, versus Saints Row. Okay, so Fear, oh, man, I can't exactly remember the first 30 minutes of Fear. I'm just trying to remember. I remember first playing the game and being like, "Damn, this is a really good shooter." Like a shockingly good shooter for 2005. I did not expect this to be as good of a shooter as it is. Um it just controlled so well. Even the atmosphere is fantastic. And I mean that starts right off the bat with the atmosphere. I didn't love that your character is a silent protagonist, but it's fine. And then there's Saints Row. I think the other ones do have a better start than this. This is an okay start. I do remember streaming this and like having fun with the start just because I created like just the dumbest looking character I possibly could. Basically, I took like if you've ever seen Harry Potter, like Crab and Goyle, and like merged them together and then just said like, what if they were like 25? And that's basically what my character looked like. And then just like so like there's a scene early on, it's a cutscene where Johnny gets just like, who the fuck is that guy? And then it just cuts to my character and he just looks so fucking stupid. And I burst out laughing. But with that being said, like I do think Fear, I from what I remember, it just it has a great first impression in just like the tone it sets and just in just the overall gameplay. So Fear moves on. And now we have the last of round one, and that is going to be Condemned Criminal Origins versus XCOM Enemy Within. So, Condemned Criminal Origins, what I have to say about Fear is very similar to Condemned, where it starts out and it's very much setting a tone, and I think it does do a good job of setting the tone. Where I don't think it does a great job is its first person combat. Like, I understand at the time it was considered good, but that doesn't mean in the year 2026 or 2025, whenever I played it, it was good. Um, so eh, it's I think it has good moments and then not so great moments with just kind of like how the game starts, and then compare that to XCOM Enemy Within, which this is it's not the sequel, it's kind of like a DLC. It's like a 1.5 from Enemy Unknown. But I mean it is just more XCOM and XCOM is really good and I'm just I feel way better about XCOM than I do Condemned, so this is an easy choice. I'm going to say XCOM has a better intro than Condemned. Okay, now I'm going to move into round two, which will get me through all of the games, and then I will move into the losers. So let's get into it. After I have my coffee. Okay, Shadow of Mordor versus Call of Duty 2. Shadow of Mordor. This is an interesting one just in the sense that I always think of the PS4 version first. And then I have to remind myself, no, this is the PS3 version, and like even the PS3 version, it's not that much worse. It's still a really good game. With that being said, I don't know if the first 30 minutes are that great. I think it's just kind of going through the tutorial. But it does show off, like, hey, this has got some badass combat, and it is fun. And oh, by the way, we did just crimp. We just take the combat from Batman Arkham Asylum. But hey, you have swords and you can chop heads off now. So I'm on board. Compare that to Call of Duty 2, which I already talked about. So this is an easy choice for me. I am going to pick Shadow of Mordor because if you remember, I wasn't that hot on Call of Duty 2 to begin with. Okay. Dirt 2 versus Cameo Elements of Power. So Dirt 2 right off the bat, you're like, "Oh, this menu is awesome. This menu is really cool." And that's before you even get into the racing, which is also really cool and really well done. And it just like it rate like yes, it's just a really good racing game. And it's almost immediately apparent how it's a great racing game. Compare that to Cameo, that I it kind of like it has like a bit of like abilities at the beginning where you're kind of trying out all these different things and then you get knocked down back down to level 1, and like, but here's the thing, you find out like, oh, none of this is that much fun to begin with, so this is not great. I did finish this game. I do need to mention that, but like I did not enjoy Cameo at the beginning. I didn't enjoy it in the middle, and I didn't enjoy it at the end. So I don't mean to drive up the score that much. I just want to have it be a 1. But yeah, Dirt 2 moves on. Ooh, X-Men Origins Wolverine versus NASCAR Unleashed. X-Men Origins Wolverine, it just starts out and you're just like, okay, this is going to be extremely violent. This game is going to be violent. And that you find out immediately, and it just never stops being violent, and that is amazing. And the combat is so much fun. NASCAR Unleashed, like I said, it's a good arcadey racer. It has some issues, but like I think it starts out pretty strong. But like as good as NASCAR Unleashed is, I mean X Men Origins Wolverine, like the immediate impression I got was just like, this game's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, this is an easy one for me. It is moving on. Halo 4 versus Geometry Wars Evolved. So when you start playing Halo 4, the first thing that you find out is, oh, it's more Halo. And then you find out like, oh, I don't know if it's even, I'm not a huge Halo guy to begin with, and then like you play this and you're like, oh, I don't even know if this is as good as the last couple Halo games. But I mean, it's still a competent, really good shooter. But like, compare that to Geometry Wars Evolved, and then you're like, oh, yeah, Geometry Wars Evolved moves on. It just, yes, it's better. It's better at the beginning, it's better in the middle, and it's better at the end. Geometry Wars is always a good time. Halo 4 was sometimes a good time. Okay, Burger Island versus the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. So Burger Island, if you're not aware, I'm actually playing it right now. It's a Wii game where you just kind of make burgers. There's a little story at the beginning and it's all text. Sometimes you make fries, sometimes you make a milkshake. It's fine. But like, no, it's not going to be Skyrim. So like, no, I'm not going to waste anybody's time here and pretend that Burger Island is going to beat Skyrim. Let's just move along. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance versus Kung Fu Rider. So Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is probably the best Metal Gear game ever made. I'm willing to say that. I immediately when I started playing it, I knew that it was the best Metal Gear game ever made. Compare that to Kung Fu Rider, which was a PlayStation Move launch title that works some of the time. So, I wonder which one I'm going to pick. I picked Metal Gear Rising Revengeance if you're just listening. The History Channel Battle for the Pacific versus Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? So, the History Channel Battle for the Pacific, they took it's an Activision game, so they kind of took the Call of Duty engine and then made it worse. So the shooting is somehow worse than like all the Call of Duty games and all of those. All the Activision shooters, it's probably the worst of the Activision shooters. Versus Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, which is it's just a shitty Wii game based on that not great TV show. And somehow the shitty Wii game based on a not good TV show is going to beat the History Channel Battle for the Pacific just because that is one of the worst shooters I will play in this generation. I am confident of that. The only thing that's good about the History Channel Battle for the Pacific is that it took me an hour and a half. But like literally the first half hour of the game was the first third of the game, and the first third of the game was not good. So I'm going to pick Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Okay. MLB '09 The Show versus Spider-Man Friend or Foe. Nope, I'm going to go in order. MLB '09 The Show is just a great, competent baseball game. Just like the pitching just works, the batting works, playing like outfield and playing the infield, like it all just works. It makes sense. It makes sense. It took me a little time to get used to the controls and the timing and of everything, but it is a really good baseball game. Versus Spider-Man Friend or Foe, which is just a really the only reason why I'm liking this game is because Spider-Man is in it, but it's just a run of the mill beat 'em up. It's okay. It's crimping some elements of God of War, but it's just not a really good. It's a middle of the road at best. Um, beat 'em up, but it does give out achievement points pretty well, and I like that. But either way, MLB '09 The Show has a way better impression. It's just a way better game in general. So, yeah, that's an easy one for me. Dragon's Crown versus the Saboteur. Okay, so Dragon's Crown, much like Spider-Man Friend or Foe, is just kind of like it's a beat 'em up. But it's a really, really, really good beat 'em up, and I like that about the game. And it's apparent that it's a really good beat 'em up right at the beginning. Um, the Saboteur, I already talked about that one, and I really liked that intro. Dragon's Crown is a better game, but I think I like the Saboteur's intro more. I think it has like the story elements are a little bit better. It's a little more cinematic. It's a sillier. It's it's I, it's less horny. It is somehow, you literally start out, I think in the first half hour at one point, like a scene starts out in a strip club. I think the game might even start out in the strip club. And somehow it is still less horny than Dragon's Crown. That is crazy to me. But with that being said, I am going to move the Saboteur along. Toy Story 3 versus Project Gotham Racing 3. So we got a pair of threes going up against each other. Okay, so Toy Story 3 I'm currently playing now. It just kind of throws you into the world. It gives a little context of why this is happening. Mayor Ham. Um, I don't know. It's all right. It's an all right, 3D platformer versus Project Gotham Racing 3, which is an arcade racing game. You just kind of start racing, and like it's just another one of these racing games that I will just say, like, it's immediately apparent that, oh, this is a good racing game. This is a fun racing game. I'm enjoying this. Um for me it is Project Gotham Racing 3. It is a better game than Toy Story 3, and it's immediately apparent. Like if you sit down and play a half hour of both these games, you're going to know which one's better, and guess what? The one that you think is better at the first 30 minutes is going to be better at the end, and that's Project Gotham Racing 3. It's just consistently great throughout. Okay, well, looks like we got one, two, three, four, five, six more matchups, and then we will be done with all the games, and then it'll just be kind of. I think it'll go a little quicker after this. So, Viva Pinata versus Mass Effect 2. Okay, I will say with Viva Pinata, it is immediately apparent that, oh, this is just a lovely experience. It is got great music, but it does move a bit slow, and I'm not saying that is necessarily a bad thing. I do think it does need to move a bit slow just so you can kind of like just kind of keep your bearings, because they can get a little overwhelming if they kind of threw too much at you at once. Uh it does have a good start, but like it's not going to beat Mass Effect 2. Your ship literally crashes, your character dies, and then he has to be recreated. Like, yeah, that's that's top notch storytelling in my book. Like that is like it genuinely, it is just a great start to the game. So yeah, that is an easy choice. Mass Effect 2 moves along. Madden '07 versus Uncharted 3. So Madden '07 is I played this on the Wii. So the most notable thing about this game is just that you go, "Oh, the movements I have to make using the Wii controller just make sense and they work." And that I do like that about it. Like to throw, you just use the Wii remote to throw. When you catch, you just take the Wii remote and lift up. There's elements where when you're running, when you after you've caught the ball and you're running and you want to push somebody off, you just take the Wii remote and you push people off. It worked, and you're just like, oh, this is really smart. And it was a Wii launch title, and it does do a good job of just kind of showing what the Wii is capable of. But like, I really like Uncharted 3 start. I like the cinematic bar brawl, where it's kind of showing off the new melee. So yeah, Uncharted 3 is going to move along. Perfect Dark Zero verse Burnout Revenge. So Perfect Dark Zero, you start running around, it's a third person shooter, and then you go into cover, and then can become a first person shooter. And as you're playing through it, you're like, oh, none of this feels good. Compare that to Burnout Revenge, where like right off the bat, like, yeah, everything feels good. I wonder which one I'm gonna pick. No, I I shouldn't be so snarky about it, but like, yeah, Burnout Revenge. I did not like Perfect Dark Zero, so it's just an easy choice. I'm gonna pick Burnout Revenge for this game. For the game with the better intro. Excuse me. Tales of Vesperia versus CSI Fatal Conspiracy. I enjoyed my time with Tales. I played it for over 30 hours. I think the game, I'm trying to remember, the game kind of starts out. Are you thrown in jail at the beginning? Or that's pretty early on? I remember being thrown in jail and just being like, this seems like it's a bit of a trope of JRPGs. Um, it did seem a bit JRPG tropey, but the one thing that did immediately impress me was that like, oh, this combat is pretty fun. I didn't expect to have this much fun with the combat. Um, I compare that to CSI Fatal Conspiracy. I played this on the Xbox 360, and it was just kind of like a pixel hunt game. Tails is moving on. I'm just gonna push Tails ahead. Borderlands, the pre-sequel versus Fear, First Encounter, Assault, Recon. I don't think I'm gonna say the full name anymore. I'm just gonna say Fear. Okay, so Borderlands, the pre-sequel. You start running around, you start playing it, and you kind of realize, like, oh, this is just Borderlands. It's just more Borderlands. It shoots like Borderlands. It plays like Borderlands. It moves like Borderlands, somewhat. You are on the moon, so you do kind of move a little differently. Then the big difference is they add this element of oxygen, so it's another meter you have to monitor. That does not make the game better. I do need to note that, but it's not all the time. But it is just like, oh, this is just more Borderlands. That's a good impression, but not like an amazing impression, because it is just like, oh, it's more Borderlands, but I don't know if it's better. I think Fear has a better star. I think it just like, I think the shooting might even be a little better. Obviously, Borderlands has better guns and cooler guns, but I think Fear also just does a better job with at least setting the tone. So yeah, I'm gonna move Fear along. Nope, not negative, positive. And we have one more, and then we are done. And that is John Woo presents Stranglehold versus XCOM Enemy Within. So I do. Oh, you know what? John Woo presents Stranglehold. I actually kind of like the start of this game. It starts out, you're like, this is kind of fun. Like the way you're able to kind of like run around, and the game is just, it's clear that the game wants you to do cool things where you're constantly like able to slide over tables, and you're like sliding over tables and shooting guys at the same time, and you're kind of grinding on, you're jumping on rails, and like the game is designed for you to do cool stuff. And I think the first half hour game does a great job of showing that off. It doesn't take that much longer for the warts to start showing, but like I do think the first half hour is a pretty strong, fun first half hour. And I'm gonna compare that to XCOM, where it is just like DLC of more XCOM. And like I said, it's more XCOM, and I like that, but it is just more XCOM. And so I'm gonna go with John Woo Presents Stranglehold because like I think the game where it becomes apparent is like a little bit later where like every combat sequence has every wave like has like a few too many waves and like it just kind of disrupts the flow of the game, but like at least early on you're able to get a feel for the combat in the game, and I think it is a little bit more fluid where you're not stuck in like combat encounters that are a little too long. So I'm gonna go with John Woo Presents Stranglehold. I think it has a better start. Okay. So, like I said, we're going to move down to losers round one. So, whatever loses here is going to be knocked out permanent. They are officially knocked out of the tournament. XCOM Enemy Within versus Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I'm going to go with XCOM Enemy Within. I genuinely don't remember a single goddamn like how that game starts. I don't remember how Harry Potter starts. CSI Fatal Conspiracy versus Mario Party 8. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know, and oh god. I guess Mario Party 8, I was more impressed when I played it this most recent time. I was like, "Oh, this moves faster than I remember it moving fast." At least the single player did, so I'm willing to say sure. The single player is better than I expected, so I'm going to go with Mario Party 8, sure, whatever. Perfect Dark Zero versus Young Justice Legacy. Oh, I think I enjoyed Young Justice Legacy more. Sure. Madden '07 versus Hitman Absolution. Oh, that's too bad for Madden. I liked Madden '07, but like Hitman Absolution, like that was a really, really cool intro. I think it just kind of had went up against something like a heavy hitter from what I remember. Well, apparently my computer doesn't want me to scroll up there. Yes, it went up against Skyrim, which was unfair. But anyway, now it gets a chance to move along. Toy Story 3 versus Power Up Heroes. I'm going to pick Toy Story 3. Spider-Man Friend or Foe versus Medal of Honor. Spider-Man Friend or Foe. Rogue Warrior versus Kung Fu Rider. Oh, come on. I guess Rogue Warrior. I do remember it being like a competent shooter at least, where Kung Fu Rider was not a competent game. Burger Island versus Diablo 3. I liked Burger Island, but it's not beating Diablo 3. Halo 4 versus Assassin's Creed 2. I just don't really like Halo 4 that much, so I'm going to pick Assassin's Creed 2. Cameo Elements of Power versus Saints Row. I'm going with Saints Row. And then I think this is it for round one. Call of Duty 2 versus Condemned Criminal Origins. These games both came out, I think, right around the same time. Call of Duty 2 is a better game, and it has a better start as well. So now I'm going to move on, and I might as well just do losers round two, and I will have the losers all done from what I can do at the moment. So Borderlands, the pre-sequel versus XCOM Enemy Within. I'm gonna go with Borderlands just because, like, although both of them are pretty much just more of the same, like at least Borderlands, the pre-sequel, is more of a new game. Mario Party 8 versus Young Justice Legacy. I'm gonna go with Mario Party 8. Mario Party 8 is moving along. It's just gonna keep trucking along somehow and end up in like losers 5 or 6. Viva Pinata versus Hitman Absolution. I saw this matchup. I knew it was coming. I'm gonna go with Hitman Absolution. Viva Pinata is going to have many brackets where it's going to go far. This is not going to be one of them just because, like I said, I do think it has a bit of a slower start. I don't think that's a bad thing, but I do think it's a bad thing for this bracket. For this bracket. So, Dragon's Crown versus Toy Story 3. Dragon's Crown just immediately has a better and makes a better impression. History Channel Battle for the Pacific versus Spider-Man Friend or Foe. Spider-Man. And then lastly, oh no, not lastly, we have three more. Rogue Warrior versus Diablo 3, and that is going to be Diablo 3 moving along. NASCAR Unleashed versus Assassin's Creed 2. So, I'm going to go with NASCAR Unleashed. Like I said, I think Assassin's Creed 2 does have just like a bit of a slower start. I don't think the first half hour. I might even say the first half hour of Assassin's Creed 2 might be one of the worst half hours of that game throughout the entire game. So it's still a great game. But I do think the first half hour is just a bit meh. Okay. Saints Row versus Call of Duty 2. Oh. They're both just so mid. And I'm trying, I do want to like take the time and I don't want to be like, oh, I don't care, just pick one. I do want to try to like actually try to pick one and take this somewhat seriously whenever I do this, but like they're both so mid. I'm gonna go with Saints Row just because Johnny Gat was like, who the fuck is this guy? And it made me laugh. Okay, so that is the end of losers round 2. Now I'm going to move into round 3, and then I'll move back into the losers bracket. So Shadow of Mordor versus Dirt 2. I am going to pick Dirt 2. Those menus are cool. X-Men Origins Wolverine versus Geometry Wars Evolved. Ugh, I feel bad, but I'm going to be picking Geometry Wars for this one. Skyrim versus Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Oh. Oh. Skyrim. Gotta be Skyrim. It's gonna have to be. It has to be Skyrim. It has to be. Are you smarter than a fifth grader versus MLB 09 the show? It's going to be the show. The Saboteur versus Project Gotham Racing 3. I'm picking the Saboteur. I think that's a fun start. I think that game is fun. Oh. Mass Effect 2 versus Uncharted 3. I like Uncharted 3's intro a lot, but it is not beating Mass Effect 2. Burnout Revenge versus Tales of Vesperia. I'm going to go with Burnout Revenge. Fear versus John Woo presents Stranglehold. Once again, I'm kind of like Fear. I am just gonna be calling it Stranglehold from here on out. So, but Fear moves along. So, okay, now we're going to move into losers round 3, and I'll do losers round 3 and losers round 4, and then we'll go back up into the winners. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader versus Borderlands the pre-sequel? Borderlands will move along. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance versus Mario Party 8. It's going to be Metal Gear. Hitman Absolution versus X-Men Origins Wolverine. This one bums me out. This one definitely bums me out. I'm gonna go with Hitman. I think that that immediately, the way that game starts, and it just kind of immediately pulled me in. Shadow of Mordor versus Dragon's Crown. I'm gonna go with Dragon's Crown just because, like, I played the PS4 version. Like, it's hard for me to Like it's just a lesser version, and you play it, and you're like, this is a lesser version. It's still really good, but it's a lesser version, and I will always know that about Shadow of Mordor. Where Dragon's Crown just felt like a great game. Stranglehold versus Friend or Foe. I think Stranglehold has a better start. I think Friend or Foe by the end is a way better game, but at the start, Stranglehold is better. Tales of Vesperia versus Diablo 3. Ooh. 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 I'm gonna go with Tales. I think Diablo does ramp up a little bit more and it ends up being a lot better than Tales, but at the start, I think Tales has it's a more intriguing start. So, Uncharted 3 versus NASCAR Unleashed. It's gonna be Uncharted 3. Moving along. Okay. Project Gotham Racing 3 versus Saints Row. It's Project Gotham Racing 3. Borderlands, the prequel, versus Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance moves along. Hitman Absolution versus Dragon's Crown. I'm gonna go with Hitman. Stranglehold versus Tales. As much as I keep saying like Stranglehold had a cool start, I think this is where it's gonna fall. I'm gonna pick Tales now. And then Uncharted 3 versus Project Gotham Racing 3. I'm going with Uncharted 3. And that's it for the losers. Okay, now we're going back up to winners round 4. Dirt 2 versus Geometry Wars. Oh. Okay. Cool menus. Geometry Wars does have great music. It's immediate, like. I'm gonna go with Geometry Wars. Going Geometry Wars. Skyrim versus the show. I'm going with Skyrim. MLB the 09 the show will move into the losers. The Saboteur versus Mass Effect 2. It is going to be Mass Effect 2. Burnout Revenge versus Fear. Fear. Okay, that's it for the winners round 4. We are getting close to the end. We only have top 4 left in winners. So now we're moving back into the losers. Losers round 5. I'm going to do round 5 and 6 here. So let's get into it. The Saboteur versus Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Oh. You know what? I'm going with the Saboteur. I really like that start. I think it's fun. Burnout Revenge versus Hitman. I'm going Hitman. Dirt 2 versus Tales of Vesperia. I'm going Dirt 2. Cool menus, good racing game. It's fun throughout. MLB 09 the show versus Uncharted 3. It's Uncharted 3. Okay. Losers round 6. There's only a couple here now. The Saboteur versus Hitman Absolution. I am going to be picking Hitman Absolution. And Dirt 2 versus Uncharted 3. It's Uncharted 3. Okay, so now we're down to what, 6 games? Don't let's calm down. Let's calm down, everybody. Okay. Geometry Wars Evolved versus Skyrim. I will be picking Skyrim. You do fight a dragon early on, or there is a dragon. You don't fight it, but like there's a dragon early on, and then you kind of run through that mountain. Yeah, I like Skyrim's first start, and then like once you get through that mountain, it's just like go do whatever the hell you want. So like yeah, fantastic start. As I said, iconic. Mass Effect 2 versus Fear. I feel like Fear kind of rode an easy ride here, but it is what it is. I mean, that's what these brackets are about. They're randomly generated, and stuff like that's going to happen sometimes. All right. So Mass Effect 2 moves along. Now we'll move back into losers. We've got Geometry Wars Evolved versus Hitman. Geometry Wars moves on. Uncharted 3 versus Fear. I'm going to go with Uncharted 3. So now Geometry Wars Evolved versus Uncharted 3. I'm going to pick Geometry Wars Evolved to move along. And then we've got Mass Effect 2 versus Skyrim. I'm picking Mass Effect 2. I think you know what's going to win. And then it's going to be Skyrim versus Geometry Wars. I'm going to go with Skyrim. And then Mass Effect 2 versus Skyrim. They've already faced once. It's going to be the same result again. And it is Mass Effect 2 being the winner. I am going to end the tournament. And bam. First, Mass Effect 2. Second place, Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Third place, Geometry Wars Evolved. Fourth, Uncharted 3. Tied for fifth, Fear and Hitman. Tied for seventh, The Saboteur in Dirt 2. Tied for ninth, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, Burnout Revenge, Tales of Vesperia, MLB 09 The Show. Tied for 13th is Dragon's Crown, Project Gotham Racing 3, Borderlands, the pre-sequel, and Stranglehold. And I think that probably, that just opens up the rest of it. So, okay. I'll just kind of scroll through. I don't think I'm going to read everything else, but there we go. Viva Pinata lost twice in a row. It deserved better than that. Viva Pinata deserved better. But it's not in the bottom tier somehow. What Kung Fu Rider absolutely belongs there. Madden 07, that's another one. Like, it deserves better. It's all right. But hey, that's going to happen. That's what these brackets are about. That's what happens with these brackets. So thank you for watching. I want to thank you once again. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.